6:48 p.m. We're going to move into the public testimony section of the meeting. Just a couple of reminders. Make sure your electronic devices are silent. When you step up to the podium, you'll be asked to state your name and your address for the record. You're going to be given 3 minutes to give us your testimony. If somebody's already covered what you want to cover, please just get up and say you agree with that person so we can keep our meeting moving along. I do have 3 pages of names. Only 5 people have marked that they want to testify. So I'm going to read everybody's name off of here. If you just want to, I'll state that you are either opposed, neutral, or in favor. If you decided you want to get up and testify, just get up to the podium and testify. And keep it to 3 minutes, please. Your clock is right over here. You'll see it ticking down so that we can get through our meeting. Okay, so first off is Teresa Denham.
Good evening, City Planning and Zoning. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Teresa Denham, 25381 Kimpton Drive in Middleton. First of all, this whole meeting came to happen from what we understood in the paper as a change of circumstance. That's why they brought it back to you. That's why they didn't bring it to you 14 days afterwards when it was denied, because they needed time to review and do something different. So the change of circumstance cannot be applied because it is an interpretation of a legal requirement, rule, or methodology, or recommendation of an authority that was not enforced at the time of signing a contract. No contract was signed. Okay, so that I'm just saying that change of circumstance is not a valid request. In their letter to Roberta, June 5th, page 105, they say site descriptions. Surrounding properties include single-family homes, agriculture, and open space. And they say it's located opposite of Middleton School. Yet later on in their document, they go on to say under D, the property to the east is within city limits. And zone R3, residential. Well, the property to the east is clearly the school. So it is not, there's a contradiction here. I feel as though there's some, maybe will be, pulled over our eyes. That's how it feels to me. When they talk about the site description, they say single-family homes, but they do not relate to the fact that the single-family homes are R1 and larger properties or lesser density. So I want to also talk about the comprehensive plan. This is Emmett Road. We all know Emmett Road.
Really quickly, you're gonna have your husband point because you gotta be up at the microphone.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. So Emmett Road, as we all know, runs north and south. Emmett Road in our comprehensive plan is a major roadway for the purpose of moving agricultural as well as commuters. Okay, and it's already been touched on, this is a bad intersection, but within the comprehensive plan, you guys have it listed as being a primary road. So the fact that they want to put this on a primary road without the correct things in place, it is not conducive to our comprehensive plan. Okay, could you please bring that down, remove that. So this is the City of Middleton area of impact. Just pull the first one down, please. No, just take the first one off, please. Thank you. Right here is the City of Middleton area of impact plan. I want you to notice this is what came from the city website. At the very top, it says that this plan is not yet approved by the county. It has not been ratified as a plan. It is a thought.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more minute, but that's
there,
it. That's all
so
you
pull the next one down, please. Thank you. No, put the first one up, please. I'm sorry. So, Middleton, right over they use black powder as an example. Black powder sits in the middle of an area that has already been continued to grow. It is the area that you guys have shown you want the growth to happen between Purple Sage and east of Emmett Road. Black powder was a single plot that was surrounded by R3. If you look at the other side of the map, you can see Pheasant Heights, and clear out, there's only agriculture. Okay, so because of these reasons, I do not feel this fits into the comprehensive plan. of the county and the city, and right now the county comprehensive plan is the only ratified plan. Thank you for your time. Do you have any
Thank you. And
questions?
Teresa, really quickly, I just also want to point out that you also submitted an email comment, correct? So we've got
I
it.
think I did, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got an email
But I don't
comment
think it
from
was
you.
the same as this, yeah.
It wasn't, but just for the record, I just want to make sure that we understand she's the one in the packet as well.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, now could I please allow somebody to go first who has to leave? Right there. Yeah. He was like at the very end and he asked me if he could go in front of me.
I don't know, city attorney, is that allowed?
Madam Chair, I don't know of any obligation to follow the order of the sign-in sheet. I think that's fine. One other note, though, any documents that are presented, if we can keep those,
Yes.
so we can scan them and make sure they're included in the record.
We have a paper
I have
copy
paper
that
copies
shows-
for you.
Okay,
Would
excellent.
that be acceptable?
That works great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then Marty Denham,
Yeah.
so was he also getting up or was this
Yes,
his
he's also
contribution?
going to speak. I don't-
Okay,
Yeah, I'll go to speak.
different than?
It's very different that way, yes.
Okay, and so who was the gentleman that needed to leave?
I just don't know if this looks like it could be going till midnight, so.
It's not gonna go till midnight. Now, I will also state that I think everybody wants to go home.
No, yeah.
So I don't, you know.
Well, if anybody out here has any objections, I'll sit down.
Like, I don't know that you're the only person who doesn't want to stay here
He
till
hasn't.
midnight.
We have him at 7. He's gonna be-
No, just go, I'll hang out, go.
Okay, all right, so if we can make sure we keep the talking non-existent, I'm not sure at the podium. Marty Denham, correct?
Yes.
Okay, name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, I'm going to do this without my reading glasses.
You can try one.
I'll try it. Marty Denham, 25381 Kimpton Drive, Middleton. I'd like to touch on 4 things, actually just 3 things really quick. I'm going to cut one out. So I'm an engineer by trade, and I'm a firm believer in finite resources. Okay, there are some things we can't make more of, for example, land. But another one is water. So I will take exception to the presentation by the earlier speakers that said it can connect to city services, that city water and city septic are available. And what they mean by that is they can connect to pipes that could deliver water and pipes that can carry sewer. But my concern, and I did a twofold, is number one, using city data, I won't go into details because I'm on a limited time. Using city data, this is a population chart that came from city resources, city websites, and one, I believe Tim O'Meara made one comment that we used. You can see the population growth of the city, and you can see where there is, to the best of my understanding, again, I'm limited on time, so I'm sorry, and the notes are just great. There was a statement at the city website that our sewage capacity is limited to 17,000 residents. This is over 17,000. I drew a purple mark. Okay, I will submit this for the record. So we're already over our skis, as they say. We're already trying to grant favors, trying to triple the density of somebody's plot because they've asked you when it's not in the county plan. I object to that because I don't believe we have the resources to give them. We can't create more water. We can create all the pipe we want. We can run sewer pipe, water pipe everywhere we want, but that doesn't make more water. Now the next thing I've got, I looked this up today, and I'll probably have to limit to my comments to this, but I have a couple more charts. One of the things I did is I went out to the USGS wells. Turns out we have a map, easy to find, water levels, static ground water levels. Again, I'll submit this for the record. This is a map you can easily find by Googling, and I've circled 4 of them. The ones in blue are the ones that get measured. The ones in green, I have no idea. But the ones in blue get measured. So let's look at a couple of graphs really quick. And eliminate my comment. This is the first graph. This is one of the wells that I circled near Middleton. There's 4 of the green, blue wells around Middleton. The red arrow indicates our water level is declining. And yet we're having a conversation about tripling the size of the city or quadrupling the size of the city. Our static water levels in our aquifer are declining. Here's another one. USGS data, anybody can find this. The water table is declining. May I please have 30 more seconds?
Okay.
Here's another one. This one's very fascinating. This is the north side, getting up to where the end of Middleton Road is and out where the BLM starts, okay? Not only is it declining, but look at the huge aberration that's telling me that there is a sensitivity here that we don't yet understand. Huge drawdown in the summers. And the last one. Sorry. They're sticking together. I promised you 30 seconds. I'm going to spend it all just getting the pages separated. Okay, last one. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm just drawing a line through the averages. So my point is, water's not unlimited, and I don't think we're under any obligation, nor should we, consider a variance from the county comprehensive plan to take something that somebody purchased as R1 and change it to R3 and triple the number of homes when we're already out over our skis. We're already overcommitted on our resources, and I don't want to see my well go dry. I don't think anybody else does either. I want to thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Janet Gibson, you just marked opposed. Okay. Name and address for the record.
Janice Gibson, 945 Harvest Way. I've got a couple of observations from the applicant's discussion today. One, he said that he wanted this subdivision to be looked at individually. Yet, initially, he said that they're here because we've all approved a bunch of other subdivisions subsequent to their being denied. Well, which is it? Are we going to be looking at them individually, or are they going to be lumped in with everybody else? Well, much like Teresa said earlier, Black Powder was one of those subdivisions. And I went on the website after Teresa did today, and this is what we found. It's been removed from our website. This is regarding Black Powder. I don't know if that has any bearing or not, but I thought it was interesting. Another one of the observations was during the staff's presentation, the open space was 5.3%. Yet during the developer's presentation, it's 11.7%. Which one is it? 5.3 or 11.7?
What was the metric on that again?
What was that? Open space?
Open space.
Then, when you're discussing the impact fee of $750,000 and that money being directed towards that light, well, if it's directed towards the light, then those impact fees, which are going to be paid nonetheless, are not going to go towards fire, not going to go towards police, not going to go towards all the other services that Middleton so desperately needs. So when they say we're going to give our impact fees towards that light, you're paying them anyway. This is not anything special. Then, the annex question. To me, it almost sounded a little bit like they were threatening, if you don't annex us, annex our development, you're not going to be able to grow. Well, we've already given them the ability to annex at R1. So it's not like you don't want to annex, just at R1, not R3. Then, you already know this part, but I'm going to reiterate it just once more. October 19th, 2022, P&Z and City Council denied this subdivision. And they requested that it return to R1, not R3, in order to be reconsidered. Didn't do that. Also, no, that's not also. Section C of the Pleasant Heights subdivision staff review and report very specifically says the application for Infinite Real Estate, Amy Johnson, for annexation or rezone is denied. Number 2, application for Infinite Real Estate, Amy Johnson, for development agreement is denied. Number 3, application for Infinite Real Estate, Amy Johnson, for preliminary plat is denied. Yet they came here and said specifically nothing had changed. You're right, nothing should change. This should be denied.
Thank you, Janet. Roy Walt. Did I get your name right here? He left. Jolynn. Did she leave as well?
Free?
Jolynn Walt.
Free? But then she's not an attorney, she's not too.
Mike McDougal, you marked opposed, and you would also like to testify.
Well,
Mike McDougal, 13037 Greenwell Lane, Caldwell, Idaho. I just would like to state that I met Colin on our public meeting on a nice rainy day, where those of us that could attend could go. It wasn't in a setting that I thought was appropriate, but I get it, fit the rules. I have a little distrust because I recorded the meeting because other people couldn't be there, and the first thing he said to me is, "You can't record this meeting." So I put my phone down, and when I looked it up, it's a public meeting. I'm allowed to record it, I'm allowed to share it with the other people that couldn't be there, and that frustrates me. So initially, right off the bat, I'm not super trustworthy of the whole program. Secondarily, the school. The school is reported as being Purple Sage is the school they're gonna go to, and that it had capacity. We all know our schools are in a capacity issue. Purple Sage is not. However, there's specifics to Purple Sage that make it different. And Mr. Gee's note says the third elementary, Purple Sage, is below capacity as a whole, but over capacity in kindergarten, second grade. Additionally, we have housed several hours of special population at this school and deliberately keep some classes below capacity as a result. So that school, while it doesn't look like on paper it might be full, it has criteria by which make it a challenge. So those are my two comments that everybody else is. Otherwise, I endorse everything everybody else has been saying.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Eric Matthews, you marked opposed but not testify. Is Eric here? No. I can't read the next one. Lives on Samoa River. Starts with a C. Nobody fits that description? Okay.
Carol, I couldn't hear you.
What's your
Carol
name?
Watkins. Is that what you- Salmon
Oh,
River?
that might be right, yeah.
Salmon
You live
River.
on some Salmon River?
Salmon River.
And you want to testify?
Just a few words.
Okay, step up to
Thank
the
you.
podium, name and address for the record.
It's been really hard to hear all of you testifying. It was really hard to hear the developers of work. The concern I have is everybody talks about the stoplight, stoplight, stoplight. Has that been mitigated, that who's gonna pay for it, when they're gonna pay for it? Is it gonna go up before you shovel 1 inch? Because we were told a bazillion years ago that that light down here was gonna go in immediately. When did it go in? Just a few months ago. So they have down here that the $68,000 for traffic pro rata. Well, this one down here at Hartley cost 1.4 million and going higher. So who's paying for this? Is it gonna go in before there's, the first shovel? Or is it gonna go, oh, well, maybe we'll do it later? It's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Nick Hilton. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Nick Wilson. I live at 13075 Willis Road, second house on the left. A couple things. The speed limit through there is 40 miles an hour during the day, 30 miles an hour during school time. On Willis Road at 3:30, it's about 85. And it's a string. They want to put crosswalks across that road. Those kids are not gonna follow a crosswalk. There are gonna be kids coming out of that subdivision, go right straight across the road, and there's people flying through there. You put the crosswalk at the north roundabout on the south side of it, it's a blind spot. You can't see it till you get there. You're coming down Emmett Road, 55 miles an hour, you come around the corner. You also got kids doing cookies around those things. Go look at all the black marks on them. There's also been about 6 wrecks there this year already. Some person actually jumped the north roundabout. Hit it, went clear over, hit the signs on the south side and wound up in the ditch. It's not a good place to have people going across. Kids can walk to school from any other corner of that school and not cross that busy road, but from this subdivision they could. The city turned it down for a lot of those reasons. I was the original petitioner. Jessica Skinner and I went to Canyon County, and we're the one that got it changed to R1 way back 3 years ago. And it took us a year and 4 months to get it done. The concern that Canyon County had was the rolling terrain. If you turn east on Willis Road, it's flat for 3.5 miles, all the way to Fox Creek. You can flush a toilet at the Fayette County line and it'll run all the way down to the river. You go west, the first thing you do is wind up in Willis Creek, then the other arm of Willis Creek, then all that, Bow Creek and so on and so forth. There's creeks all out there, it's rolling country. And so one lift station is not gonna handle the whole thing. You're gonna have that problem. You can't just go tearing around streams, tearing up holes and putting sewer line when you got streams there. When they tore out Willis Road to redo it a couple of years ago, they dug out the pipe at Willis Creek and they found contamination that they had to take all the dirt out in the desert and set it there and go through it. The EPA showed up, they shut the job down about 3 weeks. Brian couldn't work to try to finish the road because of what was already there. You've also got nitrates in the ground, all that stuff. I'm right on the edge of the nitrate. The nitrate actually goes across this property that talked about. So you have all those issues. There's nothing wrong with R1, to be honest with you. There's nothing wrong with that. You guys agreed to that before. You are planning and zoning, not just zoning. You get the plan too. You don't just zone wherever somebody comes up here and says, I want to do this, and you say, well, okay. You have to plan it. And you're the planners for our whole area. So think about that. I'm opposed.
Thank you, Nick. Ryan Sheets. Sorry, was it Ryan?
Oh, it's Ryan.
Ryan, okay.
Ryan Sheets, 24184 Willis Creek Street. I definitely am opposed. The traffic light situation, I feel like people are neglecting to mention a few things about it. Not only is it the traffic that's on that road now, yes, going 85 miles an hour, I can attest to this. But it's also brand new drivers. Every one of those teenagers is a brand new driver. That makes it even more risky. You've approved an RV lot, so what, 2-3 ton vehicles are gonna be turning out onto Highway 44 at 5 miles an hour. That's going to make an F-rated intersection an F- death trap. We're not counting the houses in Highland Ranch or whatever it is that haven't broken ground yet. I drove through that area the other day. They are side by side, practically touching each other. They are going to negatively affect our school. They are going to negatively affect our traffic. So Purple Sage, which is, yes, not at capacity, will be at capacity when Highland kids move in, let alone Pheasant kids. And Purple Sage is the special needs school. They need to not be at capacity. My son is in the 2nd grade capacity classroom, and Carol over here has been his substitute. She can attest, it is a madhouse when your children are in a school at capacity. They are not learning. I think you should just consider Purple Sage at capacity. They have the special needs kids, they have developmentally delayed kids. They are doing things for this community they can't do anymore. You denied this a year ago for density. The density hasn't changed. Please consider denying it again for our children, for our safety. You guys are here as advocates for us. Please advocate for us, not builders from Utah.
Thank you. Mikel Galloway.
Michael Galloway, 8425 Spring Creek Way. I met with Superintendent Markey this afternoon, and these are the latest occupancy figures for our schools. Heights Elementary is at 136% capacity with 5 portables. Mill Creek, 119% with 6 portables. Purple Sage is at 80%. The middle school is at 85% with 3 portables. The reason they moved the office space out of the school in order to provide more classrooms, so the offices are in portables. This one surprised me. We built this beautiful new high school a few years ago thinking that it would serve us for many years. The high school is at 94% capacity. So far, the district has spent $2 million on portables. 147 new homes means about 88 more kids going into our school system. You stated that the schools in this district are not at capacity, but from what I understand, there are about 2,800 homes still to be built in the city of Middleton, which will affect the capacity of our schools. The earliest we can put a bond out for a new school is May of 2024. The latest is May of 2025. It takes 18 to 24 months to build a new school. So the earliest we could have a new school, if voters approve a bond, is late May of 2026. What do you propose we do with the influx of these students to our schools for the next 2 years? We are already over capacity or almost at capacity with the current developments already approved. And you can pretty much assume that within the next year, our schools, all of our schools, are going to be over capacity. Our kids are our future. Our kids deserve a quality place to learn and a safe place to learn. And with all due respect, $147,000 won't even buy a portable. Thank you.
Kyle Sager, you signed up that you're opposed but not to testify.
Yeah, I agree with what's been said.
Okay. Janet Gregory, you signed up opposed. Okay. Rich Gregory. Okay. Cameron Stewart.
Opposed, I agree with what's been said.
Okay. Jeremy Rudolph.
I'll testify.
Okay. Name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes.
Jeremy Rudolph, 507 Triumph Drive. Thank you, Planning and Zoning Committee, for allowing me to speak today. I think it's great how developers are coming in yet again. Talking about curb gutters and sidewalks on 9th Street. It's awesome. They're putting a missing segment of sidewalk in. They're going to add C1. They're going to have 2.72 homes per acre. They're going to give $147,000 to schools, but they're not going to tell them. Amazing. But let's use the metaphor they used. They're at the batter's box again. When they not only struck out, but they also lost the game, right? So why are we even playing this game again? Same person who's applying, same applicant, different LLC. Look at the notes. You can look them up. More money, putting more money in front of the city. Are we trying to buy the city? It's almost apparent to the residents of the city that the developer is looking to buy the city out of this one. In the previous meeting with council, one of the things that was requested by Tim O'Meara was if the GMPRD was contacted. There was no mention of that at all. You did ask a question, Commissioner Summers, if who's going to be paying for the development, and the developer did say that it was going to be the HOA. However, 88 kids, roughly, are going to be coming out of this development at 0.59% per household, and those kids are going to be doing extracurricular activities. So guess where they're going to go? They're going to go to all the same fields that everybody else's kids go to in this area. So that was also not addressed. Another thing that should be considered, if there is still anybody, hopefully not, leaning on the verge of approval here, is that the developer should not be able to attain approval until ITD provides a guaranteed commitment, not a willingness, a guaranteed commitment prior to construction and build of that light. So they should provide that commitment, and then that light should be built before any more R3 communities go in west of Emmett. There is no R3 west of Emmett, 0. We shouldn't put any R3 west of Emmett. It doesn't make any sense. We've already been, this meeting has come and gone. July 18th, 2019, R1 county zoning. The other gentleman over there said it. Can I continue, please?
You have 1 minute.
November 8th, 21, December 6th, 21, we had table hearings. October 19th, 2022, Janet Gibson mentioned all the reasons that this was rejected by council. We're here again on November 13th, 2023. I think everybody in this room, minus the developers that are sitting on this side, are asking, why are we here again, fighting an R3? Because it doesn't pencil out? That's most likely. Shouldn't have bought the property if you couldn't get it penciled out prior to coming in and trying to streamline it. So, we're talking about the traffic. We talked about a lot of the traffic. What we didn't talk about is the 158 lots that were in the DA that everybody's saying 147. No idea why, but if you look at the DA, it says 158 homes in the DA. That's 2 cars per house, 300 cars, 5 trips a day, 1,500 trips a day back and forth out of that home. That's a lot of trips, guys, right? 0.05% is the number I keep hearing coming up as a percentage to the city.
Okay, we have to have you wrap it up.
We're looking at just that road, which is already an F minus. It's an F according to the county plan. And if you look at the county plan, it is not going to be, that light's not going to be put in by ITD until 2035 to 2040. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Teresa Teresh, did I get that right?
Yeah, I don't know what I marked.
You marked opposed, you did not mark that you wanted to testify. Okay, 3 minutes. Name and address for the record, please.
Teresa Teresh, 13105 Greenwell Lane. And yes, we're back again. So there's a couple things that haven't been addressed. I agree with what has been said totally. Light, constructed, and functional. That is so important before they put a shovel in the ground. I've seen too many times, I've been in the industry for 35 years, where they tell us they're gonna do something and it doesn't happen. So it's twofold. It needs to be done before they get the permits, they start building, they're on their way. And number 2, accountability. Accountability from all of you in regards to the permits and what they're doing. Constructed and functional 5 years after 2 extensions. How long is an extension? That was on the thing. How long is an extension? 6 months? What is an extension with the county or with the city? How long?
Are you asking like how long if they had to
Yeah,
extend
because it said in there, it said
plans?
5 years. Their permits, their approval, their plot plan, 5 years. It's still good 5 years after 2 extensions. So the original plus 2 extensions equals how
I think
long?
they're talking about the development agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have the applicant
Yeah.
clarify that for you.
So, I mean, I'm like, wow, this is what, 7, 8 years? I have no idea. So,
Yeah, we'll get the clarification for
okay,
you.
so, already denied by county. You know, one of the ways that we can best mitigate the whole issue of the impact of this is to keep it R1. 40 to 50 houses with 2 drivers per household, running through $1 million neighborhood. That's one of their major accesses. Let's deal with the right in, right out access. We're talking 4 lanes in front of the high school. Those kids go all over the place. I've watched them almost get hit as it is. It's just not safe. At the very minimum, if you all saw to approve this, I would say 4 lanes is not good enough. We need a separate lane for safety, which is going to take away from them. The final thing, proper growth for the city. The city is moving crazy out Purple Sage, out towards Star. There's plenty of affordable housing. Why do we need to have it in an area that is zoned R1 or greater? Why does this have to look like everything else? When we definitely have a delineation, I can't say the word, but Emmett Road is a good place west not to go any smaller than 1 acre. I'm sure the people that own those $1 million homes on night would really appreciate not having all those people coming in and out of their properties, especially the ones with families and young kids. Finally, I felt like there was a little bit of bullying going on when they were saying, if the city doesn't approve this, the county's gonna,
you won't have any say in the county. Well, we always have
Do you need
say.
another minute?
I do, please.
Okay, one more minute.
We always have say. The county already said no, so they're presuming that the county's gonna say yes, when it's already been denied once. So I don't take that well. Finally, if I can find my notes, doggone it. I know for a fact, because of what I do for a living and where I live, that there's over 30 subdivisions on the books for 2023. Most of them are high density. So there's plenty of affordable housing. That doesn't even include 2022 subdivisions that were on the books that are still in work. We're talking a lot of people, a lot of homes, a lot of rooftops close by, and we are just behind the ball in regards to our infrastructure. I would really like to see you guys not approve this.
Thank you. Melinda McAllister, you signed up that you're opposed, but didn't, do you want to testify? Step up to the mic, podium, name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, my name is Melinda McAllister, 24138 Willis Creek. Thank you, commissioners and city staff tonight for listening to residents. I live in an urban sprawl area, according to the applicant. We live in a beautiful area where everybody's houses have got plenty of land and plenty of just nice enough space. It's a nice area. We'd like to keep it that way, of course, we all would, where we all currently live. Since the development that has occurred across the way from Emmett, as well as the developments on the other side there, the school has happened. They have decreased what I consider my rural lifestyle, because now I can hear not only the speeders and the people going up and down Emmett. That is obviously, because we're in the middle of a growth, that has increased the sound. I wanted to touch also on, yes, the increased amount of speeders, not only going up and down Willis, that are not going 40 miles an hour through that residential area. The gentleman commented about people using that roundabouts, both of them, as little donuts. That's going to happen in city areas, so you just kind of roll your eyes at that. But these things did not occur beforehand, and I don't think that taking the rural half of the area and turning it more into even more houses is going to be really a benefit for everybody around there, even the people that have already purchased their homes in the smaller new developments there. I work for a tax-funded company district that provides services to everybody in all of Canyon County. And I can't off the record tell you who I work for, but I will tell you that it is already becoming, I work in HR, I already have a hard time hiring people to bring this important public health service to you. I have a hard time hiring people. I have a hard time keeping people. Because of the increased growth, they are being threatened by residents who apparently don't want this kind of government. They seem to think that taxes are already too high and that a public health-based district is not worthy. So what's going to be next of your other services that you might provide that these individuals would not even be grateful, towards that. So just again on those small things, I would really appreciate it if you consider denying this again. I would be okay with seeing it developed and have houses similar to that county side. If we have to go with development, then if we can try to keep it with that side, I'm agreeing with that as well.
Okay, thank
you very much for your time.
Kyle Rustad.
I've got you both speak.
Okay.
Kyle Rustad, 1660 Loch Ness Avenue. First, I want to say I believe in property rights. I believe that people should be able to do what they want to an extent with their land. I'm also part of the problem. I live in Stonehaven, which is right on the other side of the school. I was part of phase 2, the last one, phase 2. There are now, I believe there's going to be 12 phases in there. We talked about how Emmett and Willis, there's traffic and how fast traffic goes. I travel about as much as anyone else does, except for me, it's with my daughters. I'm a homeschool dad, and we're walking it, we're rollerblading it, we're biking it. I think I echo a lot of the comments I've already made. Don't need to rehash that, but R1 I think is much more feasible. The amount of traffic here is and we talked about, you know, wanting continuity with the other adjacent, you know, whether it's Stonehaven, whether it's West Highlands. And I honestly think that as someone that's moved here almost 3 years to the day, love living here, that is what we want to get away from. I know a lot of people that have moved into my neighborhood say, gosh, if I could have a property with half an acre or an acre. We have friends that live in R1 properties, and I think that would be wonderful. I don't know how those high school kids, they're not gonna go up and around the roundabout, they're gonna take the quickest way. And I walk, I bike, I run, that's part of my route. Emmett, Willis, and it's already, traffic's already there. And again, I think we all know the future is more people coming to this beautiful area. But you can't just say, well, that's what everything else here is R3, so we need to be R3. I think it's okay to have differentiation in the way, and I don't believe that it is urban sprawl. I was also wanted to, so that's my dad, my parent hat, the fact that I'm in that's my neighborhood, and it impacts us as a community, and while it may only impact 0.5% of Emmett Road, or whatever we said it was, it's exponentially more than that. But we already have water issues. I know a lot of people in my neighborhood might be anecdotal. We have issues with water pressure. And from the City of Middleton Water Master Plan, it states here, and I'll provide this, a deficiency in source of supply in Zone 3. Storage appears adequate up to the year 2014, where the population is projected at that point to be about 26,000. And I know we're inching really, really close to that, and I believe we'll be there before 2041. But we also, again, when we're talking about services, you know, water.
Do you need more time?
30 seconds, baby. And also in here, it's quoting a 41% water loss within the system. So that's my dad hat, that's my resident, and I appreciate your time, and thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Todd Ogman.
Bonus points if you get it right.
Okay, now I have to try. Hang on a second.
It's Italian, I'll help you with that.
Okay. Ogman.
G silent.
Onya Bennett.
Okay.
Todd Onya Bennett, okay.
So Todd Onyebeni, 1973, Scotch Pine Drive in Middleton here. So we've been going round and round with this thing for years now. I've been to pretty much every meeting, neighborhood meeting, froze my butt off in the middle of the field with these guys. There doesn't seem to be anything that really changes, but this city, you know, whether it's true or not true, there seems to be some questions about sewer, water, traffic, schools, all the normal stuff. But trying to stay focused on this development, the simple fact is they were denied, and they were given a route to go that lets them do this development. That's the simple fact right there. When you guys pitch this at City Council, it's if you guys deny it, you need to tell them what they can do in order to get it approved. That's what you can do in order to get it approved. It was pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So I'll just touch on a few things that I have listed out here. Some people already touched on it. I know in that general area, I know a bunch of people in Stonehaven too. There's water pressure issues, and they don't want to see that compounded by a million more homes. And they're already going to do it in West Highlands, Black Powder. There's a bunch of other ones going in there. So the lift station location, you know, being down at the bottom of the hill wasn't ideal. And how it will serve future developments. Well, that's an interesting term to me because future developments means to me that the city is trying by hook or crook to jump on the road so they can make their way out to 84 and, you know, rooftops. Well, there's got to be a responsible way to do that, not just build a bunch of houses. So how that happens and what goes on in that whole scenario, there needs to be some kind of a plan. It just seems there's no plan and we're just going to build a bunch of houses. So that's an interesting lead up to, I believe City Council, one of their things with the right turn only was emergency vehicle access. So you're gonna build all these houses, but there's really only one way down 9th to get into that if you're gonna go around the roundabout, because you can't make a left turn into there. And some of those, I don't obviously have the plat, but some of the rear cul-de-sacs are definitely a ways back there. So that's one thing that the City Council brought up as far as emergency vehicle access. And I know that in other subdivisions, fires requested a gated deal where they have the key only, that they can get into it, and things of that nature. So that was like a concern with some of the stuff that they did. Also, like impact fee credits, it's listed in, I guess, even though there's no developer agreement, but they can be credited for things that they do voluntarily. So that's pretty open-ended. Another thing in there that I read was R3 zoning, so if the DA is canceled for whatever reason, it remains an R3 zoned property, which means we can just cancel the LLC and we'll go try again and until we get an approval. It might be years from now, it might not. So that's kind of the things. Everybody else kind of touched on the rest of the stuff, but we have
Okay, 1 more minute.
37 seconds.
Okay, can we fit 37 seconds?
So we have R3 all the way up, Hartley Cemetery. It's going out to Duff. I mean, they're building 1 million houses off of Duff. There's, like somebody else said, there's plenty of R3. $160,000 to give to the city, like basically as a general fund thing. I think that's wrong. That should be totally dedicated to whatever project that that's going to go to, not at the city's discretion. Same deal with the $147,000 for schools. I mean, no offense to these guys, I'm not accusing them of anything, but that just seems like, here's some money, let's see what we can get done. So I think everybody else has kind of touched on most of the other stuff. And I just feel like as elected officials, their appointees, and everything else that goes along with that, we're beyond an up and down vote, we're at a right and wrong vote. So hope that you guys can take that into account and consideration when you're doing it. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Shirley Hoffman.
Opposed, and I agree with what's
Okay.
been said.
Wendy McDougal.
I oppose, can I give my time to somebody?
Does she have anything new to say?
Actually, I'd like to give my time to Scott.
Is he already on my list?
He's not on your list, I don't think.
Okay.
Is he on the list?
I think, I have 4 pages. I think.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'll keep going. If I get to your name, if I don't, then we'll have you added at the end. Austin Glias, you would like to testify? Yes. Okay, you've got something new to share with us?
Just a little insight. Austin
Name
Glias,
and address for the record.
Austin Glias, I live at 13115 West 9th Street. I'm basically the last house on the R1 block. I will be the first house butting up to the R3 plot. The reason I purchased my house was understanding that this was going to be a R1 development. I brought 2 small children with me, Josh and Drew. They're 5 and 8. My 8-year-old is on the autistic spectrum. I purchased that property for not only my awesome neighbors, but the safety of my children. With that amount of traffic going up and down that street, safety's out the limit, or is gone. I come from a place that this very thing happened too. Not only did it bring traffic, it brought crime, and our children were stuck in our house. They don't have the lifestyle that they have now. It'll all be impacted. And more importantly, the culture changed in that neighborhood, that community. You'll see a shift in culture with this high density housing. So I ask you for the safety of our children on 9th Street, not only the stoplight, but 9th Street. They're going from a 40-foot street to an 80-foot street. They're going to impact our properties, they're going to impact our safety. I ask you to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Connor Gray. Oh, you're the applicant. And then also Caleb Anderson. Carl Anderson. You're the applicant. Okay. You look like you write like a doctor. Trent Saxton.
Yes.
Okay. Name and address for the record, please. You've got 3 minutes and your clock is right over there.
Trent Saxton, I live at 1062 West 6 Shooter Street, Toll Brothers. The biggest problem that I see for this council, and I've been the mayor of a city larger than this city, you have a traffic problem. And I know it's not surprising for you to hear this, but the fact of the matter is, I'd like to know who decided that, who mitigated the level F problem that you have? I mean, how did you come to that?
We'll get you an answer for that in the rebuttal.
The other question I have, I mean, because traffic flow is obviously going to be an issue here. The next question that I wanted to get at is the amount of water that we're consuming. And the gentleman over here brought it up very well, but does anybody on this or the planning commission know how much water each one of these homes is consuming annually? Okay.
We'll get you an answer if we have one.
There you go. And tax increments. So is this property divided between the county and the city right now?
It's county property right now.
Okay, and so when you tell all these people that are in the county that they're gonna be moved over into the city, how are they gonna be taxed in
Well,
their?
that's what we're here for tonight, is to decide if they get to be annexed into the city.
Uh-huh.
And nobody lives there right now.
Right.
One person, I think, does.
So we're looking at what might happen in an increase in that property tax for the people that would be living there, but we don't know what that's going to be.
Yep, but we'll discuss that in rebuttal.
Okay.
Keep on going.
So, you made a very good point, Commissioner, in that who's going to pay for the light? Now, while you can say that you have, your intention is to contribute, they also said they were going to contribute to the lift station. They didn't say they were going to pay for it. And if you go back and listen to that testimony, it's a contribution. Would you need a lift station there if this unit wasn't going in? Which leaves you with the question, do we really need to build a lift station with or without them? If you go from 1 home per acre to 3 homes per acre, then obviously you're gonna have more affluent traveling, and will your pipes and infrastructure now handle that? I rest my case.
All right, thank you. Jose Uragi.
And I'm opposed, and I agree with it.
Okay. Terry McCoy. You have something new for me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, name and address for the record, please.
Terry McCoy, 24122 Willis Creek Street, Caldwell, but it's just one block north of this property. Like you, I don't see much difference in the applicant's plan except some monetary contributions. But one thing that has not been considered is we still have hundreds and hundreds of homes approved and yet to build out that are going to contribute to our traffic and the schools. The schools will be filled, there will be more traffic before this. The sidewalk for access to the high school, a roundabout is designed to keep cars moving. We're not going to put a crosswalk in there and stop that traffic. They kind of go against each other. Also, more congested traffic along in front of the high schools, going to force a lot more of these drivers to go out Willis Road to Old Highway 30. That also is a very dangerous intersection where there's been deaths. And it's going to contribute that much more beyond the homes that are already there coming in. This applicant mentions the city's obligation to, or plan to build higher density around the high school. We have many higher density to the south, hundreds of higher density to the east and to the north. We've met that obligation already. I don't think that should be a consideration. Diversity of housing. I know all of the major applicants that are coming to you are for higher zoning. We want to keep some diversity in the area. That area will eventually be annexed to the city, but it shouldn't be a factor about having some diversity of housing. And one last thing, I was trying to find a good, gentle, or nice way to say it, but I think your obligation is to the existing residents of the city before obligations to new developers. Thank you.
Thank you. Pam McCoy, you are marked as opposed. Did you also need to testify?
No, I don't agree.
You
with
agree?
everything
Okay.
you said.
Nate Arrowsmith,
Oppose and agree, everything that's been said.
okay. It's really close to Aerosmith, right?
Pretty close. Yeah, Dave Steven.
Okay. Brent Heck,
Yes, I'm opposed
and you don't need to testify.
well,
Ditto.
I just agree with everything
Okay.
that's been said and all.
Scott Poole,
And just a reminder for the audience, if we can please keep talking to a minimum, we're starting to pick up, if I can hear it, the recordings can hear it.
and you are the one who wanted to speak, so here you are.
I actually didn't, but my, one of my neighbors was very convincing, so.
Okay, so name and address for the record.
Scott Poole, I live at 13274 Greenwell Lane, and I do have something to offer that's a little different. I thought we should go to church first, so. I was reading in Proverbs just earlier today, in fact, and it said, Proverbs 24:27 says, "Do your planning and prepare your fields before building your house. First plant your field, then build your barn." And it reminded me of the meeting that we first had with Amy Johnson, who mentioned that when we asked her why not keep it to an R1, she simply said, it doesn't pencil out. And that was the reason for pushing this to an R3, was because it doesn't pencil out. It's a simple thing. The problem is they bought that property as an R1, not an R3. So, even the scriptures say, if you are going to plan to build something like an R3, maybe you should have considered that before you bought the property as an R1. Just a thought. Of course, a couple of other things just pop up in my head as I'm picturing this. We do not have an extra lane in front of that school for fire, people coming in and people going out. I remember the last time we talked about that with you gentlemen here, we said that was kind of going to be a real must, is to have that lane there, because people have to be able to get off that property, out away from the school, get off the traffic, and get into the housing development and then back out in a safe manner. It doesn't exist. So how do we rectify that? Right now we don't. It doesn't exist. They mentioned something about $750,000 total being able to go towards maybe the street light if you wanted to. Obviously that means there's no money going towards the lift pump station or anything else that happens to do with the city, which I think you guys probably have one or two thoughts about how you might be able to spend that money a little bit to help the community, which is the whole idea of those impact fees in the first place. But we're gonna put them towards a light that's desperately needed. Now, my old company I used to own, I had Crown Contracting Company, we built street lights. And I can tell you that is going to be a minimum of $2 million. That's probably $2.5 million to do that street light at very minimum. Could be closer to 3 by the time everything's impacted. They're going to donate $160,000 towards that, or if you do the penciling out, that's 8% of the cost. They themselves suggested that maybe 5 people could come together, 5 construction folks could come together to put towards that.
We almost
One
done.
more minute, sorry.
1 more minute.
If you take 5 builders at 8% each, that's a total of 40%. So they will contribute, if it goes the way they want to, 40% of the cost of the light will come from construction companies. 40 and 100, there's a little bit of a difference somewhere there. And just, that means you all have to come up to 60% on your own. And that's a level F intersection that we're heading towards right now. Drastically making that as fast as you can, making that an F minus. And that's only one direction that really people can pour out into that, and it heads right towards Highway 44. So what a shame that would be for that to happen. And that's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much.
Okay, make sure we're not making comments in the audience, please, and just having discussions, because it's gonna disrupt our reporting. Tracy Poole.
I agree with what
Okay.
you said.
Mike Graves. Opposed, and you would like to testify, correct?
Yes.
And you got something new for me, Mike?
Well, kind of, but not really. Mike Grafe, 1889 Ridgeway. The city council meeting back in November of '22. The applications for annex and rezone were denied. The development agreement was denied, and the preliminary plot was denied. And the city's required by law, if they're denied, they gotta give a reason or what they can do to be approval. And the modifications to gain approval, this is from the city, applicant may be able to gain approval of the applications if applicant requests a rezone to R1 instead of R3. Very straightforward, very simple. I asked, why are we here? Because they didn't change anything.
Thank you, Mike. Darren Megan.
Yeah, I agree with everything.
Okay. Gerald Parker. Hey, Gerald Parker. Wyatt. Something. Strokel, maybe? No Wyatt here? Seela, these might have been the high school kids. Seela Thurston, she's a high schooler. Garen Apple.
I just want to say amen to everything.
Okay, Aaron Spear.
Sport?
Spore?
Yeah.
You want to testify?
There was a crowd of people back there, so I didn't check all the boxes, I guess.
Okay.
Aaron Spore, 13279 Greenwell Lane. As the application says, it's application development for it, annexation, rezoning, preliminary plat. Questions were asked of when the development would be taking place or when the construction would be taking place. Neither one of these companies are going to have anything to do with turn dirt. I, like many of the people here, have been involved with this from the beginning. We've had meetings with the owner. She has no intention of doing any dirt. She's trying to get it zoned to R3, triple her money, and leave. She's gonna have nothing to do with it. So any of your questions, excuse me, of timelines, don't believe it. Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel Magra.
I'm here, I just wanted to agree with everybody else.
Okay, all right, that's the end of our list. Okay, should we take another quick recess?
Thank you.
What? Yeah. Look, we're gonna take a quick recess. Let's come back at 7:56.
You saw me